On today's show, an ice fishing adventure in Minnesota to a hot spot you've never heard about, chasing trout on the Red Lake Indian Reservation. Later, what you need to know about walking or driving on the ice and what you need to know to survive thin ice. Just in time for the holidays, Laura Shera goes wild in the kitchen with a recipe for Christmas goose. Our Minnesota Bound Classic this week remembers a quail hunting adventure in Texas with a young guide who one day may lead the country. Those stories and more next.
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers.
Hi everybody, Raven and I welcome you to the show. Well, it's ice fishing time, and if you're looking for something different, well, our man Travis Frank has found it in a very unusual place.
Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes. Finding a spot to fish is never a problem.
About a mile from the main road. Well, we might have a little struggle getting through this guy here.
But if you're after a true adventure, we're back here, man.
Yeah, we're back in the woods a little bit.
Well, then you might want to hook up with this guy. His name? Darwin Sumner, a year-round fishing guide based on northern Minnesota's Red Lake Reservation. He guides on rugged and hard-to-reach lakes.
Right there. About 50 meters.
50 meters?
Yeah.
Not too bad.
No, getting down there is pretty easy. Might be a problem getting up.
I know, it's a pretty steep hill. Today, I'm after my first trout through the ice, and I can't imagine a better place to catch it.
Yep, all our 27 lakes are like this. No houses, no development on them.
No sign of life out here.
No sign of life.
Just fish.
Wildlife and fish, yep. Yeah.
This is a secret weapon.
Butterworms. There's one.
Butterworm, you call it? Just dangle it?
Yep.
The key to catching a trout, Darwin says, jig fast.
Use it aggressively, shake, rattle, and roll it, especially keep it moving really hard.
Within seconds, oh, fish on. Oh, there's slippery fish. Look at that thing, that is gorgeous. That's my first rainbow ever through the ice.
Nice.
Ready?
Good job.
Thank you.
Fine, good deal.
That is a slimy handshake. Thanks to recent stocking efforts, Red Lake Reservation now has 27 lakes full of huge fish.
And they're all trophy class waters. We call it hidden waters.
In the past, this hot bite has been kept a hidden secret, but Darwin wants that to change.
We've been here a long time. These lakes have been open for non-member fishing with a guide.
Hook up with a native guide and you can fish them all.
Another nice rainbow.
Maybe the best part, season never closes.
We're the only ones after walleye season to have a ice fishing season for trout. So if you got cabin fever, heck, come on up.
Here, come up backwards. Oh. But it might be the prettiest fish I have ever caught. And when there's time, even the guide gets in on the action. Darwin is hooked up with another one. Look at that paddle.
Oh. Never gets boring. Always a blast when you catch these nice rainbows.
What a fish. It goes nothing, 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 and then bam, everyone's rug's bent over. Right there's another one. Whoa, that is a monster. Huge trout. In all the excitement, I pause for a moment and think, This really is the total fishing package.
Yeah, 23-inch trout.
Wow.
Just the whole experience, coming back through the woods and coming back to a lake that there's nothing here and pulling trout through the ice. Doesn't happen every day.
Thankfully, today it did.
Darwin, I'd call that a pretty good day of fishing. You guys are gonna have a lot of smoked trout.
When we return, what you need to know on the ice, especially if something goes wrong.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers. Seven Clans Casino. And by Connecticut.
Coming up, a lesson about survival, especially if you're an ice angler who walks on the ice or snowmobiles on the ice or whatever, anything you do on the ice. What you're about to see might come in handy to save your own life. If you've ever walked on a frozen lake, this is every angler's greatest nightmare. But rather than a nightmare, you might say Sam Jaquith is living the dream. He knows how to survive because teaching ice safety and rescues is his business.
I've been an instructor now doing this for 30 years.
Plunge after plunge, the teacher willingly treads on thin ice to teach others how to survive or to rescue.
What happens when you fall through the ice? If you don't have any rescue equipment, any safety equipment with you, we're going to demonstrate how hard it is going to be to get out of that ice. And then we'll go on, demonstrate just the simple use of the rope throw bag.
Another demonstration about how not to die. One evening off the ice with Cottage Grove firemen,
Thank you for coming.
the lesson was about saving lives or yourself in ice rescue situations.
How many out here are fisher people? Okay, great. What's the thinnest ice that you go out on? Let's see what the DNR says. DNR says 2 inches of ice. Yeah, stay off.
Other precautions an ice angler may take, Jaquith says, includes wearing a PFD, the same safety device worn in the summer,
If you do go in, guess what? You pop up.
or a coat with flotation also works well.
It'll float a 200 to 250 pound person. It's just a shell coat.
But remember, if you fall in, you don't have much time to get help. Maybe 5 to 10 minutes of muscle control.
If you don't get out within that first 10 minutes, you're probably not going to get out.
Perhaps the most important safety tool is to carry ice picks, not only for crawling out of a hole in the ice, if you would fall in, but ice picks may come in handy for saving somebody else.
Ice picks, gotta have them.
Talking ice safety is one thing, practicing ice rescues is another, of course. Yet after 30 years of thin ice, Sam still seems willing to fall through it.
Every year, especially in Minnesota, land of 10,000 lakes, we lose so many people to cold water accidents. And we shouldn't be losing them with very simple safety precautions are taken. It'll save your life.
And then we're going to set that back.
Coming up, going wild in the kitchen with Laura Shera, who's in the holiday spirit with Christmas goose in the oven.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Ellsworth Creamery and by Ice Force, proven hard water gear.
Hey, it's time to go wild in the kitchen, and Laura Shera has found the perfect recipe for this time of year, cooking the Christmas goose.
Today we are getting wild in the kitchen, celebrating the holidays, and I'm here with Chef Paul with Fire Lake Grill House and Cocktail Bar, and today we're cooking a Christmas goose. Is that right?
Nothing says Merry Christmas like the famous Christmas dish, goose. What we want to do is we want to get the best flavor out of the goose. We want to start off with a marinade. So what I do is I take peppercorns and cloves, allspice and thyme and bay leaf. Okay, now I'm going to add the brown sugar. Now when I add the brown sugar, that really helps the other spices stay close and they grind up. So we take that ground spice mixture and we dump it into a bowl, and then we're going to take a little Gras Meunier, and then I'm just going to slice my garlic, and then I'm just going to mix that up. Now, as you can see, it makes like a soft paste. Just take that and start to rub it around on the inside.
The spices smell wonderful. Time for a goose to rest for 3 days.
Our goose has been in the bag and it's been massaged over the past couple of days. We're getting ready to cook it.
Taking the temperature up to 400. All right, Chef Paul, so we've turned the goose over twice, and now it's time to add the veggies?
That is correct. What we have here is we have celery. You want to dump that in there?
Put this in here.
Right in
oh,
here.
and this one.
Onion.
Onion.
Rutabaga.
Going in.
Beets.
Ooh, yellow beets.
Turnips. And carrots.
Almost all root vegetables.
And then we're going to set that back up on top of those vegetables.
This guy's heavy. Ooh, there he goes.
And now it's time to get our Christmas goose. The vegetables are tender, the skin is crisp, and it's golden brown.
Merry Christmas to you, Paul.
Thank you, and same to you and your family.
Thank you. And Merry Christmas to all of you. And here's wishing that you get wild in the kitchen this holiday season.
Hi, I'm Rob Drieslein, Managing Editor of the Outdoor News Publications. A few archery deer hunters are still afield in late December, but the bulk of the year's white-tailed deer harvest is done. The total deer kill this year likely will be the lowest since the late 1990s. After all firearms whitetail seasons had closed by December 1st, hunters had registered about 164,000 deer compared with 176,000 at the same time last year. That's a decline of about 7% from 2012, and last season was no barn burner either. DNR officials have said that poor weather, including heavy winds on the November 9th firearms opener, likely played a role in the harvest decline. Some hunters, especially in northern Minnesota, also think deer winter kill last year was higher than the DNR believed. License sales weren't the problem, they were down less than 0.5% from a year ago. Now, it wasn't just Minnesota seeing fewer deer this fall. The early tally after Wisconsin's 9-day firearms deer hunt ended in early December also was down nearly 7% from 2012. DNR officials in the Badger State blamed a combination of fewer antlerless deer permits and exceptionally cold weather on opening weekend for the drop. The Minnesota DNR is reviewing deer population goals and will be collecting public comments about deer numbers starting in southeastern Minnesota via public meetings and online comments early in 2014. The agency will then set up advisory teams to review those surveys and set some new goals. In the Southeast, citizens can nominate themselves to serve on those teams. If that interests you, visit outdoornews.com/links. For a final tally on the 2013 deer kill, read the print version of Outdoor News in January or check us out online at outdoornews.com. I'm Rob Drieslein.
My. Still ahead, our Minnesota-bound classic this week takes a hunting adventure to Texas in search of blue quail and cactus thorns and plenty of both.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Hennepin County Medical Center, Minnesota Agricultural Water Resources Coalition, Minnesota soybean farmers and their checkoff, and by Smoothie Oil Company.
Coming up, it's time for our Minnesota Bound Classic, and this week we're going to Texas, where I took a very unusual quail hunt led by a very unusual young man. Out in the West Texas town of Midland, where the cactus flats rush to the sky, where oil rigs grow taller than the trees, there's a remarkable young man who I swear someday will be President of the United States and will have bird dogs in the White House.
Riley, load.
Meet David Harrison, quail hunter, diehard, and the only teenager in America who's organized a Quail Forever chapter in his hometown and lobbies state politicians for more quail habitat in all of Texas.
Just this last weekend, we went to travel with a group of fellow youth to Austin, Texas. We spoke with the Speaker of the Texas House and many of the representatives. Say Ray, this way.
Oh yes, David also works as a blue quail guide for West Texas Wings.
Point up here.
Somewhere amid these cactus fields was a creature that runs like a ringneck pheasant 1 minute, then holds tighter than a cactus spine the next. Texans call them blue quail.
A little bit bigger than a bob white.
Yeah.
You got a grayish blue tint.
Already, this is something that you're wondering who gets hurt worse, you or the quail. I got a sticker in here, just like that.
God damn it. Put my gun down. Right underneath him.
Okay, so David isn't a perfect kid, but his devotion to quail at such a young age bodes well for the future of quail hunting. I took feathers.
The bobwhite quail and quail in general, population numbers are declining all over the United States. And if we don't do something, we may not have any quail one day. And Texas is blessed with the amount of birds we have. But it may not always be that way. And that's something I'm gonna hopefully die fighting for.
I first met David when he was 13 years old. He came to a camp we do called the Bobwhite Brigade. And I mean, you just fall in love with the kid, you know, when you're around him.
I think he wants to make a difference, and if anybody can, young men and women like him, I think is the future of all of us hunting.
Yo, whoa, whoa. This is a male.
How do you know?
And how you can tell is the female has this faint dark black pinstripe.
Oh, I see
the
it.
Male
It doesn't.
It's just very buff
Just
and
buff.
silver.
But David's goal never wavers. He wants a future that includes quail hunting.
Quail Forever and Pheasants Forever presented the best circumstances for a local chapter to maintain and actually get things done. When we had our first meeting, we had about 40 people over there, and I think I was younger than them all of them, about 35 years at least.
David's passion for hunting began as a boy and never ended, day or night.
I've got 4 dogs that stay at my house right now that actually sleep in my bed with me.
More remarkably, before he even reached the age of 18, David was the proud owner and trainer of national champion bird dogs.
Said to come, dogs are amazing animals, especially, and then more so the bird dog, for what they do and how they do it. Every bird I've had so far has had the same passion that I do for hunting, so I guess that's kind of why we get along so well.
I would love to think that when I retire that I have somebody like David Harrison walking here behind me. I know he has the passion for quail. I know he has the love for dogs that I do, so what better heir could you have?
Something's got to be done, and I think that everybody has their calling. This just happens to be mine.
Coming soon, I swear, a quail hunter in the White House. Wow, I think I'm still pulling some of those cactus out of unspeakable places. That about does it for us. Remember, introduce a kid to the great outdoors. I'm Ron Sharon, of course, the star of the show is Raven.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. For more information on these stories and more, Catch us on the web at mnbound.com.